Yo, what's going on, guys? So we just got another massive reveal regarding Marvel Rivals, and they just showcased their Tokyo 2099 map. So if you've been watching my videos on Marvel Rivals, you already know what this means. I'm going to do a quick breakdown so that you can get the most important Easter eggs and tidbits from this trailer. If you want to stay locked in for more Marvel Rivals content, don't forget to like this video, comment your favorite part of the trailer, and subscribe to stay locked in for more Marvel Rivals content. Now let's get right into it. First thing I want to point out here is that we see a spider bot, and on the side of it, it looks like it says Spider-Man 01. And to note, these are littered around the map, so we're going to see more of these. Also, these are different drones than the ones we see Penny Parker use as her bouncing Betty ability in the Loki trailer. Then we pan up to see our first look at Shin Shibuya, and the skyline looks beautiful. This is exactly what I would envision a futuristic city in Unreal Engine 5 to look like with this aesthetic. So first we see the Silver Samurai on the far right side of the screen, letting us know that Yoshida Corporation does exist in this universe as well, and that nothing hinted in this game is without reason, so take that as you will. And even Marvel Games senior director Danny Koo said this himself. In our first scene, we then move to the billboard that says Public Eye, which is based on the private police force sponsored by Alchemax International, which we also see a glimpse of during the trailer. We know that mega corporations have taken over in 2099, and I take that this means we could see a superior Spider-Man outfit potentially for Spider-Man, but also we could get a separate Miguel O'Hara Spider-Man 2099 character instead of just a skin. Funny enough, in the Public Eye story, Dr. Doom became president of the United States and disbanded all public and private police forces and consolidated them into one federal organization under S.H.I.E.L.D. and had Jake Gall's Punisher appointed as head and Minister of Justice and Punition, so maybe we see a Doom and Punisher team-up activation in the game. We also see a sign for Demonix Group, which is another mega corporation in 2099 and is an enemy of Kenshiro Cochran, aka Ghost Rider 2099. Again, I want to temper my expectations, but how cool would it be to hit somebody with a penance stare if Ghost Rider comes to the game? We also see another billboard for the Hand, which we'll see more of during the rest of the trailer, and hope we get to see characters like Iron Fist, Daredevil, and Elektra come to the game in the future. Next, we see Pixel Corp, which is another mega corp in 2099, and this group allies with Doom in the comics, but also is against him. It's all weird, but we get glimpses of Dr. Doom later in the trailer, and I'll point him out when we get to him. In front of that, we see Green Globe, another mega corporation that hints at a deep cut character called Ravage 2099. Ravage is a CEO of an Alchemax subsidiary, Eco Central, that works to combat polluters in 2099, but ultimately becomes a target of the police and Alchemax. In the distance, we get the faint outline of another recognizable corporation in Stark Fujikawa that we'll get into later. Then behind that building, we get another Public Eye billboard, and then a Horizon Lab sign at the very top indicating that someone is responsible for Spider-Man's advanced tech. At the bottom right of this scene, we see a Douglas Jazz ad, who is likely a reference to Arthur Douglas, aka Drax the Destroyer, who in his original human form used to be a jazz musician. Now, we've already seen a majority of the Guardians, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see the rest of them come to the game eventually as well. Then if we look to the far left, we see a massive hologram billboard for Lila, which is Spider-Man 2099's AI assistant. Then again, we look towards the middle of the screen and we see Stark Fujikawa with SPDR, or Penny Parker Spider Armor, and then further to the right, we see the Silver Samurai on the Horizon building again. If we look at the bottom left, we see the train from the announcement trailer, and what seems to be a platform it is running along, which could mean that there are multiple playable sections of this map similar to Eastgard. We see the Yoshida Corporation or Clan Yoshida logo in the middle of that building. Then scrolling a little further, we see a Spider Cat Coffee Cafe, which is super cute, and then again we get a more clear view of the skyline with all the neon lights and skylights lighting the air. It looks awesome to see. First look at Spider-Punk with what looks like an eerily similar mask to Spider-Man 2099's with the angular and menacing look on the mask and the spikes on the shoulder pads as well. And above the graffiti and neon lights, we see what looks like maybe a reference to Spider-Zero. Considering the narrative of this map, it seems to revolve around the Web of Life and Destiny, and Spider-Zero is intimately tied to that story in Spider-Verse Issue 1 Volume 3. We see another poster of Silver Samurai, and above that, a poster showing the Hand again. Then we see a really cool storefront that says Ninja Store on it with a shuriken, meaning that this is probably a front for the Hand. We now get the flip shot of the street, and I think that this is another part of the map that we'll be able to play on. On the bottom right, we see Spider-Punk's name in graffiti. A better look at the storefront on the left, we see the Hand logo again, indicating this is most likely the front I was talking about before. We get a clear image of the Silver Samurai, and boy, he looks amazing. I mean, I really hope we get to see him added into the game eventually. In that middle building with all the different posters, we see a Quicksilver sneaker ad, which is very interesting because I wasn't sure if they would be doing a speedster type in this game, and there's no confirmation that they will be, but since they have Scarlet Witch, why not add her brother too, right? Here we get a more intimate look at the map, and we see this War Tales arcade machine standing out, but not just standing out, actually giving us brand new information. We see at the top banner both Dr. Doom on the left and Captain America on the right, presumably their 2099 variants, meaning that we now get what is probably the look of both of these characters, but we can also say with a degree of certainty that Cap is now coming to the game. On the game itself, we see a very small detail referencing Under York from Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Issue 3 Volume 2, and in this arcade game, we see Spider-Man fighting the leader of the Under Yorkers, Hale Carrick. We then see what is maybe the bottom half of Dr. Doom's armor potentially, and a skateboard reminiscent of Miles Morales' suit colors. We get a good look at that massive rift in the sky indicating the tear in the web of life and destiny. In the middle of it seems like maybe another island of some sort, but it could be pieces of the sky just being ripped up and sucked through the portal. In this scene, we get a look at some of the storefronts here, and we get to see that glowing green health pickup indicating this is probably another playable section of the map. Behind the stores, we see the Alchemax lab sign, which makes me wonder if we'll get to play in the lab and see some cool Easter eggs maybe. We also see one of those drones from the beginning of the trailer off to the left again, and I wonder if those robots behind the counter will be interactive or if you can destroy the store as well. That would be kind of cool, but I bet they would have hilarious voice lines in the game interacting with the heroes. We get to see this food vendor now, and notice how his robot eyes are spider-like, which is kind of interesting detail. On the front of the van license plate, we see the numbers 46-037, and shout out to Kraken Knoll for figuring this one out on Discord. I'll put the screenshot up here where he explains what the numbers mean. For this scene, we get a better look at the menacing public eyes building, and from what I gathered, the slogan is more eyes, more safety maybe. Then we get a better look at the Alchemax gene databank on the bottom right, and at the top of that, we see the train track with the neon blue lights underneath. This shot is super interesting because there's a private security service advertisement, which I assume ties into the lore that there's a constant watchful eye on the heroes, and then we get a blurry but very prominent silhouette of Doom 2099, which it says Doom 2099 on the poster, and it also says it's an end of a heroic age on it, which is very ominous sounding. Of note, we also get a glowing trail on the right indicating a path for the heroes, I assume. This could be an indicator on the convergence game mode that was revealed in the blog post. We get a better look inside the public eye building, and with all the security monitors, I think showing off different sections of the map, maybe those are just for display or they actually work and can show players as live feedback, and there's health pickups around the room as well. I assume based on the green walls with health icons, this is where a team spawn could be, or maybe players can walk through it and get heals potentially. We'll just have to wait and see. We get the full look at the Alchemax gene databank building, and we see more drones climbing all over the stuff that's around the map here. But what's more interesting is that we get a full name and look of Penny Parker's spider armor called SPDR, which if you look closely was manufactured by Parker Industries. And again, in the far right corner, we see the Doom poster again. Here we see what looks like the progression of the map based on the arrows on the ground, indicating this may be a change of game modes that wasn't like the solid white line we saw earlier, or it could all be part of the same game mode, but just the indicators mean different things. On the ad board, we see Spider-Punk and Bombastic Bagman. It looks like squaring off at each other, and we'll see in the next frame that seems to be the case. In the background, we see the Eco Central building that I mentioned before with Ravage. And further back, we see a bus with words that have Afterlife written on it, and I couldn't find anything specific on it except for that it was a reference to a group of Inhumans who came to seek refuge and settled somewhere in East Asia, so this could be a stretch, but I don't want to overlook anything. We get a sweet look at this Oni mask and some beautiful cherry blossom trees as well. I haven't mentioned this yet, but the colors are looking absolutely fantastic. Everything is vibrant, easily distinguishable, and it should not go overlooked how hard the art team went on this map. We move on to what looks like maybe a dojo of sorts with this glowing orange objective in the center of the map, maybe to do one of the three game modes, Convoy, Domination, or Convergence. We'll just have to wait and see when the alpha drops which one it is. We also see what looks like samurai armor on display, but it doesn't necessarily look like Silver Samurai. Or the samurai theme things could be a really deep cut reference to Captain Yamato Takahashi of the Hunter of Monster Special Force, who appeared in the Rick Remender Punisher run, but even Danny Koo stated there is no Silver Samurai. Now whether or not he's trolling, we'll have to figure out, but in the meantime, there's a portrait of what seems to be Karn the Master Weaver, which we'll talk about towards the end. We see another portion of the map with this green outline among the doorway leading to a ramp to an indoor archery range. There's also this blue jump pad which we haven't seen before, so I assume you can use this jump pad to get to the top of the ramp quickly if you get stuck down there potentially and are getting pushed by enemies. Here's this battle arena section where we see Pixel Spider-Punk and Bombastic Bagman facing off with each other, really honing in that retro future aspect of the map, which makes this whole thing come together so well. As we start to wind down, we get one of the last full shots of the cityscape, again looking amazing, and we see the back of a really jacked dude in the background, which may be what we saw in the announcement trailer, like at the end, from a different angle. It was more difficult to see, but I'm not 100% sure who that is. We also get this metal militarized looking blowfish ship hovering around. I assume this is maybe carrying public eye forces potentially, or has something to do with public eye at least. Then we pan back down and get the last shot of the tear in the sky, bringing us back to the original frame from the beginning of the trailer as we hear sirens in the background and it fades to black. One last Easter egg that we get is a pretty big one, is that we get a closer look at Karn the Master Weaver, and based on the lore of the map, it seems like he's going to play a pivotal role in the narrative, so it's exciting to see where this is all going to go. Karn's story is intimately tied with the Web of Life and Destiny because it's the job of the Master Weaver to protect the Great Web, and to that extent, the larger multiversal order, so if things are going haywire, then something is definitely up with him, and I'm interested like so many others to find out what that is. And that wraps up this video. If you enjoyed that in-depth breakdown, let me know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like the video if you want to see more breakdowns like this in the future, and subscribe to stay locked in for more Marvel Rivals content. We're closing in to reach our goal of 500 subs, so thank you to everyone so far. I hope to keep on pushing and growing to be a better content creator, but with that, have a good day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you guys in the next one.